You can get pretty awesome ingredients as fresh, frozen and canned options. But the question is, which are best applied to certain dishes? Today, two normal home cooks are going to put that to the test.
Tinned, fresh, frozen.
Oh, you're just meant for humans.
3 salmon pastries, but one has been made with fresh salmon, one with frozen salmon, and one with tinned salmon.
I think I could tell which. Oh no, wait a minute.
I
I was going to
think
say
I
I think I
can.
could tell they're fresh.
I thought I could. These two look very similar. There's a difference in colour.
Well, because they look similar, I'm saying that's got to be tinned because it's smaller chunks.
Do you think? I think that could be frozen because it's smaller chunks and it might have mushed.
Oh.
I'm going to eat the salmon on its own first.
Is that the vol or the von?
That's a good question.
Okay.
That is
Yummy.
delicious.
Yummy, beautifully cooked. Nice big flakes.
It flakes. Strong salmon flavour coming through.
But not too fishy. Delicious. Okay.
I think we might have been right.
Now, whichever one is the fresh one, that was easy. We just poached the fish. The frozen one, we allowed to defrost before cooking it. And then the tinned one, obviously just opened out the tin and drained it.
Ah. Big chunky bits.
Big chunky bit, so.
Lovely texture.
Again, subtle salmon flavour. I'd say less strong on the salmon flavour, but still there and still very tasty. I think I prefer that one.
I don't know what that means.
I don't know what that means.
Try C.
There's little in comparison there, really. Yeah.
Yeah.
That has more of a texture I would compare to tin tuna.
Yeah.
No.
Goodness
Slightly
sandwich.
drier. Yeah.
That is a convenient vol au vent.
That is convenient vol au vent because it's really tasty.
So you pretty much locked in C.
C is almost definitely tinned.
No surprise there, it is tinned and it is tinned in oil and actually arguably quite nutritiously sound, especially because the canning process can soften a lot of the bones. So it can often be even higher in things like calcium than fresh or frozen.
Because you're eating mini bones.
Because you're eating all those mini bones that are also cooked in the canning process.
I think A is fresh because of the colour, although they're so similar.
They're so similar.
They're so similar and they're both delicious. I'm going to say fresh, I'm going to say frozen.
Right.
I think I prefer B.
I agree. And I prefer it, so I'm going to say that's fresh and that's frozen.
A is fresh salmon, never previously frozen, that we bought from our fish supplier.
And we had a conversation just before we started rolling. It's like, we're not going to make this a competition. I should have a point.
B is Iceland's 4 Atlantic salmon fillets, so frozen. And then, yeah, as we've said, C is the can, so John West Atlantic salmon fillet in olive oil.
Yeah, in situ, these two, it doesn't make a difference. Again, it comes down to the quality of the fish and the way it's farmed, as usual.
A good question.
But taste-wise, experience-wise, doesn't make a difference.
No.
So a fresh fish is likely to be firmer because it has undergone that sort of freezing process which softens connective tissues and stuff. But it depends on where you're using it. So if you're basically pan frying or grilling or whacking on the barbecue, maybe the fresh fish is your best option. But if you're mixing it into things, whether it's pasta sauces, curries, all sorts of fish going into all sorts of curries, or meal prep, maybe you're making and putting it through salads and all sorts, then actually if you're breaking it up, it's probably okay as frozen. If we talk price,
that's what I'm interested in, price, because that could change.
We're going to have to really look at this per kilo to be fair across the board. Bethnal Green fish, £21.42 per kilo. The frozen version from Iceland, £21.15 per kilo. So pretty much the same price per kilo.
Yeah.
And the tinned salmon, which I would normally associate as being a cheaper option, £30 per kilo.
What?
A couple of reasons. One, we've done the drained weight, but actually you're also paying for olive oil in the tin. And olive oil is also quite expensive right now.
So you're paying for the convenience.
Before that was revealed, I'd have said, great, convenient, cheapish. And it's just convenient.
The fact that the price difference isn't massive, that's just down to cooking preference or where you want to get your fish from.
And you're right, there is a textural difference between fresh and frozen if you're just serving it as a piece of fish. Would you like to move on round 2?
Yes.
Round 2 We're talking pineapple. And they've been put into a pineapple pancake. So cooked into the batter.
That is one pancake.
Gotcha, right.
This is going to be amazing.
Upside down pineapple pancake.
Basically.
Fantastic. Okay, cool.
You've already got
I can't. I thought I'd tell straight away, but I guess
my
it is on the
gosh.
bottom.
A pillow of greatness with lots of that tropical pineapple inside.
Okay. Look at that.
Right. I've got the texture of pineapple. It's firm, not too mushy. Super sweet pineapple.
It's almost got a bit of a, almost like a, I guess it's cooked. I was going to say stewed, but yeah, now it's really hard to tell.
Moving on to B. What a day.
God, this is a good day, isn't it? Wait, instantly, I think there's a colour difference.
Massive.
Yes.
Yeah, look at that.
A is yellower,
Pineapple coloured.
B is
Pale.
pale.
And more acidic.
Yeah, it's got more of a bite.
A lot more of a bite.
I think that works better
Yeah.
overall
So
because
much
it's
sugar.
offering an acidity to offset the amount of sugar that's in it.
Now, tinned pineapple is one of the most common tinned fruit in the UK, but the same kind of logic would apply to all sorts of fresh, frozen and tinned fruit.
Last one.
This is,
Bright yellow, but there's also a lot more water content in it.
there was so much water content that it cannot escape gravity.
Right, cheers.
Cheers.
That's my favourite.
Very soft.
There's so much more moisture in the pineapple, and it's kind of like the fibres are still there, but it's just a lot more naughty and
That's
indulgent.
more stewed.
Yeah.
This is really hard now. That's got more moisture in it.
And you've got that goo around the batter as well.
This one's really hard.
Did you expect it to be? Or do you think it would be easier?
I thought it would be obvious. Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
The tinned pineapple, is
Yeah.
that in a syrup?
Yes. Good question.
No, in juice.
Also good. That's still a sign
Okay,
of...
here's my thinking. Sweet
Yep.
and with a bite,
Yep.
acidic with the most bite,
Yep.
juicy,
Juicy. No bite.
no bite, less flavour.
It's not as fresh, but I'd say it's giving me what I want from a pineapple cake.
Yeah, it does the job.
So what do you reckon? Gut feel?
Tinned, fresh, frozen.
Oh.
Agree or disagree?
Frozen. Fresh. Agreed. Tinned.
B is indeed fresh, and that is an M&S King pineapple. It's £2.40 for a whole pineapple.
I know it's not competition, but I can get this back.
A is Dole pineapple chunks in juice out of a tin.
We should be doing points.
Doesn't matter.
Um,
And C is M&S's pineapple frozen chunks.
Okay, so it's gone juicy through the defrosting,
That's
and
what
the
I thought.
freezing and the breaking down of the...
Yeah, and also
Oh, yeah.
I was thinking more moisture
Yeah.
within it.
Now, we deliberately chose to put these into pancakes because when you're baking with pineapple, if you've got a tried and tested recipe of ratios of flours and fats and whatever, sugars, you need a consistent pineapple to work with that. So actually, tinned is often a very safe bet, or using a consistent branded frozen pineapple because they're always prepping them at perfect rightness and freezing them and whatever, whereas the fresh pineapple, better for like fragrant aromas and the more subtlety and perhaps more crunch,
Yeah.
but it will vary.
Either way, 3 delicious pineapple pancakes.
There's a thinker in it.
Very interesting round, and it will change. That will change my buying
100%.
habits.
Yeah.
Right, well in that case, should we move on to something savoury? 3 delicious bowls of sarg, cooked down with a number of spices, onion, ginger, garlic, and some dairy fat, so a little bit of butter, ghee and cream. Now visually there are differences, but can you identify which is which?
Green, greeny brown, brown.
Okay.
So we said B, fresh, because vibrancy.
Also, the frozen stuff keeps the colour as well. So it could. It's good. That looks pretty.
I think you can taste canned spinach. I've never
Do you think
really
so?
liked it.
That's better than my sarg. Wow.
That's delicious.
That's
Well, that is
equal butter to
spiced
spinach.
as well. Yeah, that's glossy.
Texturally, it's all been cooked down. It's the point of a sarg.
I'm going to have to pick up something different. I'm going to have to go to another one to get any reference point.
This one looks a lot more appetising. So in A, the spinach is a vehicle for all the spices. Whereas that
It's
tastes
all-
of spinach.
Yeah, and actually, taste-wise, it's more bitter.
The irony kind of
Yeah.
flavour you'd expect of spinach.
Yeah.
Sensational. Now for the brown one.
Oh, wow.
Oh my goodness.
How can spinach taste so different? Right, how do we explain this?
In C, it's suddenly a lot more earthy in flavour. Less bitter, more earthy. But you're still getting more flavour of spinach from C than you are A.
I agree. It tastes like a stewed spinach. I feel like there's more moisture in it. It tastes like it's been boiled, if that makes any sense.
I think this is the first one we're going to agree on.
What do you reckon?
Fresh?
Fresh, frozen, yeah, tinned.
Tinned, yeah. I'd say that's my favourite. But these two are probably equal. Very different, but equal. in
Very,
preference.
yeah.
You're absolutely right in terms of which is which. Let me show
Yes! 4 points! We're winning!
you. So, A is Tesco leaf spinach frozen. It's frozen within hours of being harvested, so is very inverted commas fresh, even though it's gone through the freezing process. So wilted down and frozen as pellets, and of the 900 grams of spinach in the bag, you get almost 900 grams. A bit of water comes out of it, but actually mostly it's already wilted down. Fresh, it's also Tesco. It's Tesco fresh spinach. Could be produced Germany, Spain, United Kingdom, Italy, Netherlands, changes through the seasons because you always want those young fresh leaves, so you kind of follow the seasons. And a lot of it will be grown indoors as well. And then finally the tin spinach, and that's Natco. Produced in France, has got a bit of added salt, but otherwise pretty solid, very consistent product. Every time you open a tin, it's exactly the same.
Having gone back between A and C,
Yeah.
there's a big textural difference. That is sog,
Yeah.
sogaloo.
Yeah.
Soggaloo.
Soggaloo.
It's not, there's no aloo in it, but it's sog.
Yeah.
That's sog, that's sog. But taste-wise, it's very nice.
It is, you said it kind of quite earthy, quite a depth to it, and like it's been sitting in its own juices. Remember the canning process, it's cooked spinach before it goes in, but then the canning process heating it up again.
That's
in
it,
the
yeah, it
canning
just tastes like it's been cooked. Yeah, that's it.
So it has been quite literally cooked in its own juices.
Twice cooked, that sog.
The only other thing Kush mentioned in the processing is that when you're using fresh, you've got control. So you wash it, you wilt it, you've got control of making sure there's no gritty sandiness in it. Sometimes, the other products, that's out of your control. And you can sometimes find a little bit of the almost grittiness in the tin product.
You swear by frozen spinach, and I always think that makes so much sense.
We never did the weekly shop. You never go, oh, what should we get in the shop this week? You'll never go, oh, spinach. But if you've always got a bag of it in the freezer, you just add it to things throughout the week.
The frozen spinach, useful for stirring through, I would say, almost fresh cooks.
Yeah.
So everything from fish pie mix to pasta dishes, put it through soups and broths that just wilt in, think minestrone, that kind of thing. Fresh, also great for salads and dressing things. Whereas the tin spinach really does have to be a long wet cook because it kind of already has been.
Yeah.
Quite deliberately in this video, we've made sure that the fresh and frozen are the same brand. So we're comparing like for likes. This is Tesco Fresh and Tesco Frozen. The frozen works out £1.78 per kilo.
Wow. So, and how much? What's the bag?
900 grams. It's about £1.60 for that bag.
And what? It's a 90-gram bag. is it?
500 gram bag.
500. Oh, you went big.
£1.47 makes it £3.54 per kilo. So pretty much twice the price.
Yeah.
And you don't get twice as much spinach.
No.
Oh,
Because
You wilt it
then
down.
you wilt it down
Okay,
and
cool.
lose most of it. Finally, the price of the tin is £1.95 for that 765 gram tin. So we are looking at £3.68 per kilo of sort of drained weight. So it's about the same price as the fresh.
it's the only one so far in this video that I won't be buying.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
It does a great job and it's shelf stable, but
Yeah.
that is also if
yeah.
you've got the freezer space. And we are both owners of the chest freezer.
You got a chest freezer?
Chest freezer.
Welcome.
It's only a little one.
Oh, okay.
But
It's a
still.
start.
Should we have a conversation about round 4?
Yeah, let's do it.
Chicken
Chicken!
in a Little Caesar salad.
Well, that's definitely the canned.
That's definitely
Why are you
the
turning
can.
your nose up, Baz? You'll eat tin tuna, you'll eat tin salmon.
I've had beer can chicken, but not canned chicken.
I feel like the moisture has already left my body before I've eaten this.
I don't think you'll know with the frozen versus fresh until you've had a chomp.
I'm going for it with our imaginary. I've got imaginary points to lose.
Okay.
Okay, fine. Tastes like fresh roasted chicken,
Yeah, nothing to say on that apart from taste of chicken.
and it's well cooked.
Yeah.
Like
fine.
it's not
Yeah.
dry. It's
No, that's a benchmark. That's what I'd hope for. And it gives me exactly what I want from a chicken Caesar.
makes me think that is fresh roasted chicken.
Yeah.
Breast. That crunched.
You sure it wasn't
God,
the
is it-
crouton underneath?
Falling apart, I can't pick it up. Oh my. Is this meant for humans?
Do they make tinned sawdust?
If I was blindfolded, I would say that's tuna.
It's almost got the texture of tuna.
Yeah.
I mean, the fact that you can't fork a segment without it falling apart.
So do you reckon it's the fresh, frozen or canned?
I think it might be the canned.
Yeah.
The benefit of this particular product and canned is it's ready to go. So unlike the other two, you literally open the can, and because it is cooked and stabilised in the canning process, you can use it in salads and lunch prep and stuff like that. It's open and ready to go.
Most evenings I get into bed ready to go, but it doesn't mean I go anywhere.
Right, now, okay,
See?
back into the game. Ooh.
So you don't think C is canned, but do you think it's fresh or frozen?
Definitely frozen.
Quite definitive. Why?
It's the lack of bite of the protein. It almost is pappy, I think, as you chew it.
Now, whether it's A or C, the freezing of chicken will do a few things. It will change the muscle structure. It will force out some of the moisture content in that freezing, which is why sometimes you get ice crystals on the outside of a frozen chicken breast. Fish are the same.
The only thing, flavour-wise, they're the same. It's purely a texture thing. You're right, this still has the grain in it,
Yeah.
whereas this has all become one texture.
So what would you lock in?
Fresh, tinned,
frozen.
Correct. Let's have a look. Same situation here. We've got the fresh and the frozen from the same retailer. So these are both from Waitrose. A is the Waitrose fresh, slower reared 2 chicken breast fillets. B is Villigan's chicken breast in a tin. It's still chicken breast in water, lightly seasoned. And if you open the tin, it's ready to go. And finally, C is also British chicken, still class A, but it's Waitrose frozen chicken breast fillets.
I don't dislike that as much as you do. I don't mind it. It's got a place.
I think if it's going into pies or
Yeah.
stews or casseroles,
Yeah, if there's other textures at play and you want chicken flavour, that works.
the fresh is 50% more in price than the frozen. So the fresh is £12.50 per kilo, and the frozen is about £8 per kilo.
It's a lot.
Good marinade, good stew, putting it in curries.
I can't dismiss it completely, in fairness, because I haven't tried it in those stewed or wet applications. I just know when chicken is quite a massive
Yeah.
part of the dish, don't have a chicken Caesar salad if you're going to have to use it.
I don't mind the idea of having that in the freezer for either
contingency.
cooking,
Last
contingency,
minute,
or
yeah.
you're cooking for a big crowd, potentially.
You want to feed people that?
Not really, but yeah.
And the price of the tinned,
This could be big.
£25 a kilo, so twice the price of the fresh per kilo.
Why?
Canning makes no sense now. What?
Paying for a pretty premium brand, lots of things put into cans across the continent, especially more so than we do.
Where would you use this?
Oh, I wouldn't.
Oh, okay, good.
Personally, if I'm going to have chicken, which like you, I'm eating a lot less meat, full stop, I'd rather have the high welfare quality stuff and pay for it, but eat a lot less of it.
Biggest lesson I've learned in today's video is to look at the weights, not just the item.
Yeah,
In terms of when it comes, the fish, canned fish thing has blown my mind a little bit because we get through so much tin tuna. But I'd always choose to have fresh tuna if I could. Maybe I should.
Per kilo,
Yeah.
sure. Per tin, you look at it going, that tin's only a couple of quid, but that's not, you have to times that number by 5 or 6 to get the price of per kilo to make a fair comparison.
Lessons learned.
And drained weight.
Yeah.
You buy a tin of pineapple, most of it is juice.
Yeah.
There's also some pineapple in there. The same with the spinach, the same with...
Weigh yourself after going for a wee.
Yeah, oh, definitely.
Important.
Yeah, first thing in the morning.
Yeah.
It's when you're skinniest.
Drained weight.
On that well-being note, what other ingredients out there exist in both fresh, frozen and canned form that we could do like-for-like comparisons? Comment down below, because we love putting these things to test to see when and where each process is worth using.
And please give us a like if you found this valuable. I would give this a like because I found it really valuable. It helps and we want to get 15,000 every video. Thank you.